Dr. Buteyko was a doctor and a researcher who did a lot of research in the 50s about breathing. I did a lot of martial arts in the past, and to be serene, to be here, the breathing also needs to be quiet and easy. So through that I came to the breathing of the samurai. But for me, as a not Japanese person, it's really difficult to understand. The books I read about it were also pretty, they were not really clear for me. So, and then I came to Dr. Buteyko's work, because what he did, he also investigated, but with the scientific glasses on, he researched the samurai breathing, and he has also researched the authentic yogi breathing, and he also researched the breathing of the ama. Those were the Japanese female pearl divers. So for me, I kind of followed Dr. Buteyko in his path because I thought it was really interesting what he was doing. And then we can call it chance or whatever. Then in Holland there was a course, and it was given by Masha Kutuzova, the Russian lady I talked about earlier. And she gave a course about the method Dr. Buteyko developed in the years, and that's what they called the Buteyko method. And from that point on, I got more and more excited also, because when I started doing the training, within 3 weeks I felt a big difference. And I did all kinds of breathing exercises, and most of them didn't help for the anxiety. So I did that breathing exercise and it helped me pretty quickly. So then I knew there's something here. I don't know exactly yet, but there is something there. So sometimes breathing can sound a little bit weird or simplistic or like new age, a thing, we're going to do this and that and we're going to feel everything. No, the science behind it is, I think, really powerful. But also, if you understand the basics, then it's clear. And simply put, is that if you understand that you breathe like this. If I breathe like this, for example, now if you will measure inside of my blood, you will see differences. And the idea is, if I breathe like I just did, that more oxygen is released into my cells. That's kind of true, but it's not released in the way it's supposed to be. If I breathe like I just did, then too much carbon dioxide is released, and there's a disbalance going on, and to put it simple, less oxygen is released into the brain. A real famous scientist in his field is called Christian Bohr, and he found it out, I thought it was in 1910 or something like, but in the beginning of the 1900s, that if you breathe too much, you lose too much carbon dioxide and less oxygen is released in the proper way into cells. So if you understand this, then a lot of things go clear. Because then, if you breathe too much, then less oxygen is released, while there is more oxygen in your blood, but it's not released enough. So if you understand this simple, basic structure, then you can continue build on it. So if you start to learn to breathe in a good way, in a proper way, less, then more oxygen will be released into your cells. And I think this is really interesting. So there's so much to be told about Dr. Buteyko and his research. So a small interview like this is never going to make a proper introduction to this, I think, great man. On the other hand, I also think it's really interesting to look at the ancient techniques he used. The Buteyko method is intertwined in the Breathing Mastery program, but also we're going to use the modern technology, and we're also going to use the new insights which has involved with stress, etc. And we're also going to use a lot of the experience we had in all different countries